might as well be your brother.
Everyone says that. I wonder why. Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 5. 4.
It's 5.
It's numbered 4 though because we didn't number the holiday special. Why didn't we number the holiday special?
I don't know, because it's a holiday
That was my
special.
stupid idea. Yeah. Okay. Hi. Welcome to the episode. This week we watched another one of Dani's films, so I will give it over to her.
We watched She's the Man, starring Amanda Bynes and Channing Tatum, which I think you were a little surprised by.
I was surprised to see that he was in this film. I think this was before he became Channing Tatum.
Yeah, probably.
It seemed like this was before anybody really knew who he was.
Mm-hmm.
2006?
Yeah.
So it's kind of one of his early roles, it seems.
Yeah. He might actually be in high school in this movie. Well, maybe.
He's supposed to be. He looks like he should be working at some fucking construction site or something somewhere. Does not... None... Well, go ahead. Read.
Okay.
read the synopsis.
Okay, so the quote on the back says, "Mean Girls gets a classic twist," which is...
It's nothing like Mean Girls.
It's... You've seen Mean Girls?
I have.
Okay.
In terms of plot, it's nothing like
It's
Mean
nothing,
Girls.
But in style, would you say it's like Mean Girls?
Well, yeah, I mean, but that's because around 2006, everything had the same style. Every comedy was similar in the way that they looked and everything.
Yeah. Okay, so it says, Amanda Bynes proves that girls can do anything guys can do, and she's the man. The laughs are nonstop when Viola Bynes, disguised as her twin brother Sebastian, played by James Kirk, joins the high school boys soccer team and helps win the big game unexpectedly falling for Duke, which is played by Channing Tatum, the hot star forward. Viola discovers that dealing with high school politics and twisted love triangles is a major challenge when you're a guy who's really a girl.
Exclamation point!
Yeah, She's the Man features an ensemble cast of up-and-coming stars and hit songs, so kick back and get ready to laugh out loud.
Why is every comedy that you're showing me, their synopsises are just terrible?
I don't know.
They're hard. Who wrote that?
I don't know.
It's terrible.
It's really bad. It's, doesn't even really tell you what this movie's about.
All you know is that she's looking... It does tell you...
It doesn't really stress that she is a guy for most of the movie.
No, and on the back there is no pictures of her looking like a guy.
No, I think
there is one picture of her with a mustache.
They wanted to keep it a secret and be like, she's the
Yeah.
man. Like, why is it called that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, they weren't trying that hard. They were putting the most laziest effort into keeping that a secret. If that's what they were doing.
We should probably actually try to give a good synopsis, since that synopsis...
Here's
really
the synopsis.
Nothing. Yeah, go ahead.
So, they were like, let's make just one of the guys for teenagers and take out all of the more risque stuff.
Okay.
And I say that because I love Just One of the Guys. It's one of my favorite movies. And there's almost beat for beat things that happen in this movie that happen in Just One of the Guys.
Mm-hmm.
So the whole shirts and skins thing, the shower stuff, the girl that should be liking someone else, but she likes you, but you're actually a girl.
Mm-hmm.
That is all from Just One of the Guys.
Right.
So, but the movie says that it is inspired by a Shakespeare play.
Yeah,
Twelfth
Night.
Yeah, which, I'm not the person to go to that stuff. I'm not 100% familiar with Shakespeare's plays, especially not that one. Would you say that it is a good retelling, or is it close to what Twelfth Night is?
Sort of.
What is Twelfth Night?
Oh, well.
Just give me a brief summary.
I'm not super sure.
Mm-hmm.
It's not one that I read, but
Okay.
It's one that I know in passing.
What is it about?
I don't know. I mean, I'm pretty sure the main character, this is gonna seem... I don't want to guess, because this is gonna seem
I thought
stupid.
you knew!
No, this is... I mean, I know of Twelfth Night. That doesn't...
You know the name Twelfth Night,
Yes.
and that Shakespeare wrote it.
Yes, but if you're gonna have me sit here try to deduce what it like. How accurate it is to this, I don't know.
Okay,
and then people in the comments are gonna be like, "You fucking idiot."
I assumed you knew more about Twelfth Night than you did. Okay, my bad. I apologize.
That's fine.
But to me, it should have been inspired by just one of the guys.
They're not gonna put that in the credits.
They put it in the credits for Shakespeare?
Yeah, because it's based on a play. Not like that's not what movies do. Do you ever see a movie go, "This is inspired by another movie" in the credits? That doesn't happen.
Sometimes it's inspired by movies or by a book.
No, but I'm not talking about that. You're talking about a movie specifically.
Sure.
You said this should be inspired by just one of the guys. So
yes.
like in the credits, it's gonna go inspired by just one of the guys. That's not what movies do.
No, it isn't. But it should have been because I took a lot from that movie.
Sure, but you could also, I feel, argue that is normal high school stuff that guys would run into. That as a girl, that's also what they would run into if they're pretending to be a guy.
Sure.
So. Yeah, I'm sure there are some similarities because, it's, this not the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to say kind of the same thing, but it's not.
Yes, okay. So once we get past that, because I love that movie, so of course I'm going to see all the similarities.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't hate it.
No, I didn't hate it. I told you weren't going to.
David Cross is in it, and I love David Cross. He's actually very funny in this. He reminded me a lot of the Dean character in Community.
Yes.
Who else? Eunice. Eunice is a great character that I really enjoyed. She's very intense, and it's very funny.
She's the intense nerd that they just really overblow.
Yes.
Where she's got braces and
she's got headgear.
She's got headgear when they introduce her. And she's very intense, which I honestly like about her.
We made a lot of jokes while watching the film about how intense she could or would be in certain situations.
Yes, and towards the end of the movie, it was like a little bit confirmed, because she has a line where she says, "I know tricks."
I know tricks.
And then we were both like, we knew it that Eunice is a freak.
Eunice has a closet of sex toys.
Eunice gets fucking freaky.
Yeah. Eunice is one of those girls that'd be like, do whatever you want.
Yeah. I'm down for anything.
Yeah. She was a bright spot.
Yeah.
Amanda Bynes had some funny stuff. Some stuff I laughed at for sure.
What do you think of Amanda Bynes as a boy?
She looks like fucking Paul McCartney.
She does.
Oh yeah. So basically, Amanda Bynes as a boy is just Paul McCartney. That's as soon as I saw her in her get-up, I was like, she just looks exactly like Paul McCartney at the height of the Beatles.
Right.
And that's all I could think. That's all I could see.
But you, and it was funny because I don't think I think at one point you forgot that she's supposed to look like her brother.
Yeah, I did. I was, but to me, like, okay, they have the same hairstyle. That is it.
No, that's not true. They have the same face shape too.
I don't think so.
Their jaws, they both have like cherub shaped faces. They're full face.
Yeah.
And I know that that's kind of what they were going for when they were looking for someone to look similar to her.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Because
they're meant to be twins.
Are they supposed to be twins?
Yes.
Does it say her twin brother? Yeah. Okay.
They're supposed to be twins.
Okay.
So, and I believe, and I also believe that's in Twelfth Night, is they are actually twins.
People who are much smarter than us and that know of Shakespeare, please, if you could let us know in some sort of comment how close this movie is to 12th Night, if you've seen the movie as well. I would really like to know that, because at one point in the movie, I did think, wow, are they speaking in, why can't I remember what it's called? Something pentameter. Yeah, I'm stupid, guys. It sounded almost like the script was written that way, and I would actually give more points to this movie if it was.
Maybe it did in some points.
Parts.
I'm not super.
Yeah.
Yeah. We already established I'm not super clear.
Yeah.
On it. But I did point out to you. I'm like, okay, his name is Duke Orsino.
Duke.
I'm pretty sure. He has a first name in 12th Night, and his title is Duke.
Duke. Yeah.
So they just.
Yeah.
They just used it as that.
Here's the real question: was this meant to be more of a retelling of that Shakespeare play, and then they decided to rework it into this Amanda Bynes vehicle.
I think they meant to just modernize it.
Yeah.
Because like I brought it to you, this is kind of like 10 Things I Hate About You, which you also have not seen.
No, I have not. I know of some scenes, but I've never sat down and watched
which
the
is
movie.
Inspired by Taming of the Shrew.
Mm-hmm.
Which I know is actually accurate, where there's two daughters and they are not allowed to like date or marry until one can't until the other one does, and the other one is basically like a spinster shrew of a woman. That's why it's called Taming of the Shrew. And so it does relate actually to the plot of the film. It is modernized for like teenage crowds, and that's actually, in my opinion, a really good movie.
When was that movie made? What, 2001? 2-ish?
I don't have your freakish... we should establish right now that Will has a freakish ability most of the time to name what year films were put out.
I don't know why I know. Even films I haven't seen.
I know.
I just know the year they came out, or I can normally guess it within a year or two. Mm-hmm. I know the roundabout time when things were put out, but it's funny that watching these two movies in a row at this point, it really strikes the note. Whatever, I don't know what I'm trying to say. It really shows me just how similar a lot of the comedies were at that point in time. Mm-hmm. Maybe just movies in general, but definitely the comedies. They had the same. There was a lot of like funny musical stings in this, as well as Fired Up. There's a lot of the editing is the same. It's very like MTV editing. Yeah. Yeah, it's just they're very similar. Yeah.
You enjoyed this more than Fired Up?
Yes, I definitely enjoyed this more than Fired Up. This movie is what it is. I think Fired Up wasn't supposed to be what actually came of that.
Okay.
This movie was meant to be a PG-13 comedy for teens. Mm-hmm. And it knows that's what it is. Which, though, there are some funny lines that I would consider would be more... They push the PG-13. Mm-hmm. Like, one of my favorite lines of the movie is the brother's crazy ex-girlfriend. Mm-hmm. She is in a pizza parlor, and a guy tries to talk to her. This is after the whole scene where the Amanda Bynes character is dressed up like a man, and
she's dressed like her brother.
Just like her brother, and trying to show all of the guys in her soccer team that she is this awesome macho man that all these girls love. Yeah.
And it's all her friends.
It's all her friends
yeah. Just throwing themselves on her and stuff like that. It's truthfully, in my opinion, it's a pretty funny scene, because you know it's all fake and all silly.
Yeah, but the sister comes up and the guy starts to talk to her, and she says, "Girls with asses like mine don't talk to boys with faces like yours."
And then Channing Tatum cracks up, he starts laughing.
It's a good line. There's some good lines in this movie.
She's actually, you bring her up. Her name's Monique, and she is Sebastian's
the brother.
Yeah, Sebastian is Amanda Bynes' brother. Like I said, we should kind of just. I'm gonna sum up real quick what this is actually about, just so everybody knows, because
do a better job than that.
Yeah.
than what we read before.
So Amanda Bynes plays soccer. And she plays it well, and she's on a girls' team at her school. Her and her brother go to different schools. I believe they are warring schools.
Yes, so it sounds that way from Cornwall
and Illyria. Which also alludes to, I'm sure, 12th Night, where Illyria and Cornwall, I'm sure, are maybe house names or something. Again, you can comment and correct us at any point. We're fine.
We're speaking about things we don't know.
Yes. So that's just a guess. But anyway, her team gets cut. Not enough girls join the soccer team, so her team gets cut. So she says, "Okay, we're gonna go out for the boys' team," and her coach laughs in her face. Lots of misogynistic jokes, and then she leaves. So, she goes home, and her brother, who, like Will said, is a musician, is on his way out of the door. And
he's going to London.
He's going to London
for
because
his band.
His band got a gig, I guess. It's very vague.
Yeah, in London.
Yes, and so
somehow.
he's like, I'm out, bye, and she's basically like, you're supposed to start school soon, and he's like, yeah, can you like take care of that for me? Again, very vague. Also, I should mention when Amanda Bynes comes in, or she's greeted by her mom.
Julie Haggerty.
Yes.
Who's just great and everything.
Who's great. And she's very like, oh, you're meant to go to the debutante ball, and here's this huge poofy dress, and here's this huge poofy dress. So establishing Amanda Bynes is not girly girl, doesn't like that stuff. And is like, no thanks. And also informs her, I also broke up with my hunky boyfriend that you weirdly kind of have a crush on.
Yeah, it's like her mom. She says, "Why don't you date him?" And then her mom's like,
and like
she like actually thinks about it, and it's like, that kid's like 17, lady.
Yeah. So,
there's lots of weird, almost pedophilic things in this movie.
We'll get to that. Let me
maybe it's just the two things.
Let me just sum it up. Again.
Okay, yeah.
So, Sebastian is taking off, and so Amanda Bynes has this grand idea that she should dress up as her brother and go to the school so she can be on the team. And that's that's the plot. The
very, very
condensed
plot, yes.
Yeah. So, like we were saying, there's a scene in which where she's trying to demonstrate, I'm a macho man, you should think I'm cool, here's all these girls who, want to be with me. And the plan kind of backfires when Monique shows up, who is Sebastian's, like, actual girlfriend, and will obviously be able to tell that she is not him, so...
They do kind of set this up in the beginning. When she comes home, she has a hoodie on, and the girlfriend comes up, and she's like, Sebastian, from the back. And then she's like, you guys have the same figure from the back. You look exactly the same.
Which obviously is a very backhanded... Well, it's not a backhanded compliment. It is just an insult.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so, there's this huge chase where she's trying to get closer to Amanda Bynes.
She's putting everything she can in front of her face.
Well, she is simultaneously breaking up with her.
Yes.
And that ends pretty well because, she ends up taking off, and then all the guys are like, hey, Sebastian, come sit with us. Yeah. You're cool, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, everybody loves Sebastian now.
And that's all it took.
All the girls at school love Sebastian.
Oh, yeah, all the girls want to go out with Sebastian.
And this is about the point where we're introduced to the girl that starts to like Sebastian.
Yes, Olivia.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Which is funny. So her name is Olivia, and Amanda Bynes' character is Viola. And to me, they're basically the same name. You just need one more I in there. And
watch all of your fans named Olivia and Viola be like,
they are not the same name.
They're not.
Olivia, Olivia.
Yeah.
Viola, Viola. Mm-hmm. It's the same letters. You add one more I in Viola and switch them around, it's Olivia. Yeah. I don't know if that was on purpose or they just did that.
Again, I think these are the names that are just taken from the actual play itself.
Well, you don't know that though.
I'm like 80% sure that a lot of the names are taken from the actual play.
Yeah. Speaking of the girl that starts to like Sebastian, there is a carnival. They go to a carnival, which Amanda Bynes' the Viola character is supposed to go to with her brother. So in this scene, she is doing a comedic switching of costumes.
Yes.
At least 3 times.
Yep.
And there is one time where the switch makes no sense to me.
Are we having fun?
So why did she change into being the guy? What was the point?
What do you think it's going to be like?
Yeah, she switches into a boy, nothing except run away.
Nothing, and then sees the Monique character, and has to run away from her and turn back into Viola.
Well, maybe that was the reason why. Maybe that's why
it's still. I feel like there was a scene cut out.
Okay.
I feel like there was a scene cut out, and they were like, "It doesn't fucking matter."
Okay.
But then she changes back into Viola because she is going to a kissing booth that is at this carnival.
Yeah, she is relieving Olivia. Olivia is actually
did we mention that Channing Tatum character really likes Olivia? And he was we did not. That's another part of the story. He really likes Olivia. he is getting Sebastian to help him get a date with Olivia.
Yes.
He is the next in line at the kissing booth to kiss Olivia.
Yes.
Then Viola comes in
Mhm.
and switches out with Olivia and makes out with Channing Tatum's character, Duke. This is the second pedophilic thing in this movie to me, because Olivia, all these girls, these two girls in this kissing contest are teenagers. They're in high school. Did I say kissing contest?
Yes.
Yeah, kissing contest is much better. Kissing booth. So
it's just as a name as a kissing booth.
Yes. So they're both in high school.
Mhm.
They show the line.
Yes.
At some point in this scene, there are grown men.
Oh, not only
in this line. There's an old man.
There is an old man
who licks his lips.
Well, what Olivia tells Viola when they're switching, because I guess Viola is her relief. That's what she says to her.
It's weird that there's relief for a kissing booth.
Well, that's actually what you call somebody when you switch out. You're like, I'm your relief.
I understand what that means. I'm not stupid.
Okay,
it's weird that there is a relief for a kissing booth.
Well, it's to make sure that everybody gets mono. But as they're switching, there's a great line that Olivia says to Viola where she says, "The old guy who's chewing gum, it's not gum."
What does that mean?
I don't know. But it's pretty gross. Whatever it is, it's gross. If he's not chewing gum, then what is it?
What does that mean?
Exactly.
I didn't even notice that
Oh,
line.
yeah, it's exactly what she says to Viola when they're switching.
Is this a snowball joke?
I don't
that made its way into PG-13 comedy?
One of those screenshots of that moment of you saying that and me reacting is going to be the thumbnail.
Oh, yeah. Snowball joke.
Oh my god.
I would love to, hopefully many of our listeners, watchers understand what a snowball is. If you've seen Clerks, you do. Okay, kissing booth. What's after the kissing booth?
Lots of stuff. So we should also mention that there's this really annoying character named Malcolm who.
Oh yeah. He's trying to take it all down. He really likes.
Well, he really likes Olivia.
Yes.
And wants to be he's
obsessive.
Stalker. Yeah.
He has a pillow of her.
He has a pillow of her face. He has a serial killer collage.
Yes, with room. Shit all over the wall. Yeah.
It's pretty creepy. And anyway, he eventually figures out a lot of stuff. Oh, and by the way, this is not a scene that should be skipped in our minds. The scene in which Duke finally does get a date with with Olivia.
Yeah.
And
it's a double date.
It's a double date.
And Olivia is doing this to make Sebastian jealous.
Correct.
They are sitting there and they have nothing in common.
No. And by the way, it's double date. Amanda Bynes. Well, Sebastian is on a date with Eunice. Which is great.
Who? This is my favorite thing about Eunice. So in the beginning of the movie, Eunice gets partnered up with Duke, and she's like, oh, you think that she really likes Duke.
Yeah, you think she has a crush on him.
But then you get to this this double date, and she's just fawning all over
she's
Sebastian.
All over.
So Eunice just is looking to get some action anywhere she can.
Eunice is thirsty.
Eunice is like, someone touch my vagina, please.
Well, and it's really great because there's a moment in which she's getting, from what I can tell, handsy, because Amanda Bynes' Sebastian literally yells at her, "Eunice, hands!" She's super handsy, apparently.
Eunice is give it up. She's like, somebody fuck me.
It's just Eunice is ready to get going in this booth right now.
Yeah. Eunice is the best character in this film to me.
Yes.
She's great.
She really
Eunice and David Cross's character, they're both really great. There is a great scene where Amanda Bynes is dressed as Sebastian, and she's talking to somebody on the phone. She's messing with her wig because she has a wig on that covers her hair. And David Cross's character, the dean or whatever, he apparently does every job at this high school. He's in the cafeteria serving. He's washing the windows, landscaping. Yeah. But he's currently doing the windows, and he sees her messing with her wig. And instead of does this teenager have a wig? Mm-hmm. He goes, I know what's going on.
Yep.
and she's like, oh, I'm caught, and he's like, you have male pattern baldness.
because
he's bald. Yeah. And it's so funny because after that scene, every scene after that, he has some sort of thing over his head.
Yes, he does.
He has a hat, he has a cap, something on his head.
I love the scene in which Malcolm is talking to the dean outside, and saying, that there's something up with Sebastian, Amanda Bynes. And the dean has a special liking to Amanda Bynes
for whatever reason. They never really tell you why.
That's not true. He does. He says, you're a transfer student. I was a transfer student.
Oh,
I came here.
Okay.
So I take a particular interest in transfer students.
Gotcha.
So
okay.
that's why.
Yeah.
And so he's not really believing Malcolm, of course, that there's something up. And Amanda Bynes is walking by on the cell phone again. Once again.
Speaking in her regular girl voice,
which she does quite a bit.
Which I'm surprised there was a few scenes in the movie where she does that around people.
And they don't say anything.
No, they don't say anything.
It's
Yeah. She the cover up doesn't go too far for her.
No. But anyway, she's walking by, she's talking to her mother, and she's saying that she doesn't want to wear that type of dress.
High heels.
And she's also mentioned she's not wearing high heels.
Yes.
And mentions how, they're a male invention to make a woman's butt look smaller, which I'm not quite sure if that's
true.
I
didn't get that, but then the end part.
But then she says, and to make it hard for them to run away, which I think is a funny line.
Yeah.
And she walks away, and then, obviously hearing that, Malcolm and the dean...
They'd stare at each other for a second.
And then the dean asks him, Malcolm, have you ever tried to run away in heels? It's not that easy. Yeah. It's so good.
Another joke that really makes me get the Dean Community vibe.
Yes.
What? Okay, so skip to the end.
We'll skip to the part where Sebastian comes back from London.
He calls his ex-girlfriend and says he wants to see her, things out.
No, he doesn't say he wants to work things out. He says that we should get together and talk. Which his intention is to break up with her. Okay, which is weird, obviously, because she's already Sebastian has broken up with her already. Yes. So that's not good. And also, I believe he tries to call Amanda Bynes at one point and tell her, but I don't think she gets the message, obviously.
Yeah.
And then Olivia, who has decided... Oh, we skipped over one of my favorite scenes.
Oh, the debutante ball?
The debutante scene in which...
pre-debutante, because it's just the girls at this point.
Where Amanda Bynes, as herself as Viola, meets up with Olivia, and they kind of meet in the bathroom because they're both supposed to be doing this debutante stuff. And starts talking about how Olivia is in love with Sebastian. And that's news to Amanda, because earlier in the movie when they get partnered up as science partners, Amanda Bynes as Sebastian establishes, or thinks she establishes, we're just friends. I don't think of you that way. She literally says that to her. Yes. And says, I don't think of you that way. Which, of course, when a guy does that to a girl in high school, you're like, oh, I love you even more. Because you don't want to date me like all my other guy friends do. You know what I mean?
This is one of the parts of the movie that I call bullshit on, because as a high school girl, Amanda Bynes should understand what's going on.
I guess.
Because she feels the same way about Duke in a scene when they are talking about their feelings and whatnot.
I guess.
The same thing happens just on the other side. Mm-hmm. So why doesn't she get that Olivia is falling for Sebastian?
I don't know, because of course in her mind she's a girl, so she isn't going to assume
that,
it's not her focus. You know what I mean? She's very focused on playing this game and beating the school that she used to go to.
Yes, beating her boyfriend. Her ex-boyfriend is on the other team.
Yeah, she wants to prove herself. And prove to them that it's like, oh, haha, I can play. Yes.
So in the bathroom, they have this discussion. She says, "You're right. As soon as I see Sebastian, I'm gonna tell him and I'm gonna kiss him and all this shit."
Yeah, Amanda's like, "Wait,
She's
wait,
like, "Whoa,
wait.
whoa, whoa."
That's not what I meant."
And
enter
oh no!
enter Monique, who was in one of the stalls, I guess, of the bathroom listening
She
into
heard,
the conversation. And
of course this is all fucked around because of all the convoluted shit that's happening.
oh yeah.
So she's like, "Oh, you're the bitch who took my man." Basically.
Yeah, Monique is like, "Oh, so you're a homewrecker."
Yeah.
To Olivia, and Olivia's like, no." And then, of course, one of the, I think it's a really great fight scene that breaks out between.
It
the
is a
three
good
of
fight
them.
scene. It's funny.
So funny, and it's super realistic too,
Yeah.
because they're not. I mean, they are hurting each other, but they're not like throwing punches and things, because it's it's not really what girls
They
do.
are throwing punches. Amanda Bynes punches her in the top of the head.
Well, she does. But what I mean is nobody gets punched in the face or anything.
No. There are heels thrown.
There's punches in the head, and then there's a few punches in the gut.
Yeah.
Which are great.
Yeah.
But they specifically do not punch each other in the face.
Yes. And
but it's a very comedic scene because they're grabbing each other's ankles and pulling each other down and all of this stuff, and it's just it's a great scene.
Yes. And then after that scene, we get to the scene of the brother coming back, and as soon as he gets out of the cab, Olivia's like there.
Olivia has
she
like
just
Sebastian
kisses
radar.
him. Yeah,
and
she's
somehow
like
knows.
Eunice in that scene. She's
Yeah.
just like, ah.
And somehow knows, yeah. And so
but so she kisses him, doesn't even like look at him. She just does it.
well,
Puts her head like on his
dark,
shoulder.
To be fair,
Yeah, it's dark.
It's
Puts
dark
his head on her
outside.
shoulder, says some stuff, says his name, says his lyrics back to him
Oh yeah,
that she found earlier in the movie,
which is weird.
and then she goes away. And like,
How weird would that be?
Yeah, like you said that you were like, how weird would that be?
How
Like
weird
this
would
person
that be?
knows your name, to know your lyrics, and you're like, who the fuck are you?
Yeah, right.
I did one gig in London and we're famous.
Yeah, everybody knows it's you. You made it.
So at this point, he's at the school. The guy Malcolm has figured all of this out, and he's going to tell the dean. And also, Duke and Sebastian, fake Sebastian, have had a fight because Duke thinks that...
Well, Duke saw the kiss.
Duke saw the kiss, and he, of course, then thinks that it's
He thinks
Sebastian.
it's Sebastian, but it's not.
They fight. He goes away.
He
Or
throws-
Amanda Bynes... Yeah, throws Amanda Bynes
He
out.
throws Sebastian out of their room.
And then the brother then takes her place, and he actually goes out onto the soccer field.
Oh, we should also mention that since Sebastian got thrown out of his room, he got to stay with Eunice.
Eunice,
in
yes.
her room.
Yes, Eunice snuggled up. Oh, Eunice was staring at...
Yes,
at
well,
him.
that's what happens is the next day is the big game, the big soccer game.
Yeah.
And they all of his teammates tell real Sebastian, who's in bed, hey, get to the soccer field.
You gotta get over here and
get
do
your
this.
ass going.
Yeah.
And
And
so
he's all
Sebastian-
bewildered.
Sebastian's just like, okay, and
Yeah.
just goes, and cut to Amanda Bynes, who's still asleep.
Yes.
And Eunice
Eunice
did
is
not,
staring at
Eunice
her.
did not wake Amanda Bynes, and Sebastian is like, why didn't you wake me? And
Yeah.
she's just like,
Runs to the field.
Yeah.
We get to the field. The real Sebastian is playing in the game and sucking terribly because he's not a soccer player.
No, he's not.
And then Malcolm and the dean interrupt the game to then say, hey, he is actually a girl.
Well, that was one of your favorite parts. Is
Well-
when the dean says that he's on a megaphone.
Yeah, he's
and
on a
he says-
megaphone.
And he says that Sebastian Hastings is a girl, and then you said,
Yeah.
"Damn!"
Yeah.
So when your dean just calls you out.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Sebastian Hastings is a girl.
I would love if that happened when I was in school.
Right?
Like, dude, the principal just got you. But so this is one of the weirdest things to me in the movie.
It's pretty weird.
He calls him out and he's like, "No, I'm not." And they're like, "Prove it." And he just fucking takes his pants down, shows his dick to everyone. The stands are full with people.
Yeah, with
Everyone
children, I'm
around,
sure.
children.
There's children.
Everyone, older people. This guy's supposed to be a teenager.
Yeah.
And he's just out there. He's
Yep.
like, there you
Here's
go.
my dick.
I mean, it's good for comedic purposes.
I mean, they don't show.
They don't show. It's PG-13. Of course, they're not going to show it. But it was very weird to me. And then they do another switch out where
well, yeah.
once
Amanda
it's proven
Bynes.
that he is a boy, they do another switch out. Amanda Bynes comes back out, and then they have a whole thing, and she's like, I can't do this anymore. I gotta show you that I'm a girl, and she takes off her fucking fake sideburns and her wig, and everybody's like, ah. And then they're like, well, we don't believe it. And then she shows her tits to everybody.
Yep.
And she's just like, here you go. And
It's just like,
these
a lot
are
of nudity.
teenagers. Yeah, there's a lot of implied nudity for teenagers in the presence of adults and children. It's weird.
Mm-hmm.
But also that scene doesn't hold a candle to the scene in just one of the guys. That
Well, yeah, obviously.
well, yeah, because there's actual nudity in
You're
that film.
a pervert.
I'm not a pervert. It was just some of the first boobs I ever saw.
Nice.
But yeah, and everything ends happily, of course. Obviously, when it's first revealed, Duke's like, no, I can't do this. And then he goes away.
Well, we should also mention that they end up, Amanda Bynes' team ends up winning the game.
Of course. Yeah, if you didn't deduct that from what type of movie this is, of course they won.
Yeah, they won.
But yeah, I mean, you know, this is the whole, like, I can't do it, and then she sends him a wheel of cheese, because we didn't talk about that scene where they talk about cheese.
Well, there's a scene in which...
We don't need to talk about it.
I want to!
Fine.
Amanda Bynes, as Sebastian, is trying to help Duke, like, learn how to talk to girls. And I think it's a funny scene, actually, because Amanda, as Sebastian, says, you know, we'll role play, you know, I'll be Olivia, and, you know, and you can talk to me. And then, you know, talks in her normal voice.
And does, like, a stance.
Yeah, and he gets freaked out.
He's like, well,
because
that was
like,
weird.
He's like, that was too good. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
He's like, I don't like that. And so, they start, you know, she tells him, like, you know, ask me questions, you know, ask me if I like cheese, and he does. He asks her,
and that's a
do
motif.
I like cheese? You know,
There's
do you
the
like
cheese. Yeah, there's that, and then when they're on the double date, he can't talk to Olivia about anything, so he says, do you like cheese?
Yeah,
and
she
she's like,
just
what the
looks at
fuck?
him.
Yeah, and then it ends with the cheese.
It
Which
ends
is
with
perfect.
the cheese.
Ends with the cheese, which is, it's perfect that it's a joke because it's so fucking cheesy.
Yeah.
So we get to the end. She sends him cheese. That makes him go, oh, I do love you.
Oh, you're great.
And at the end, he says something like, I know that it was just a few days ago.
Mhm.
And I'm just like, the
You're like-
movie
you're
makes
like,
it
wait,
seem
wait,
like there was a lot longer span of time to me than
I don't
just
know.
like a few days.
I don't know. I don't think time matters in this movie.
Well, time, no, it doesn't. But they get together. They do the debutante ball. Eunice ends up with another soccer player, which is nice to see her get a nice ending as well. And then it ends. Everything's happy. Everything's good. She stays on the soccer team.
Oh, I love the part, though, that Monique is also at the debutante ball, and her escort is Amanda Bynes' ex-boyfriend goalie.
Oh,
who's
yeah.
a total douche.
They're perfect for
And
one
they're
another.
perfect for each
Yeah.
other, so that works out.
Yeah.
But yeah, Duke was her escort at the very end, and they kiss, and everybody's happy. And,
Yes.
And then that's the end.
Yay!
So what do you rate this movie?
4 out of 10.
Really? What?
4 out of 10.
Wow, didn't you give Fired Up a higher score than that?
Fired Up got a 1.
Oh, that's true.
No. Fired Up got a 2. Fired
Okay.
Up got a 2. Yeah, this was a lot funnier than Fired Up. It had really good comedic people in it. David Cross, Julie Haggerty, Amanda Bynes is funny. You know, we both watched her on all that. So, yeah, there's a lot of good people in it. Vinnie Jones. We didn't talk about Vinnie Jones. Vinnie Jones is, of course, the soccer coach, the soccer hooligan.
Yeah.
It makes so much sense.
Yeah.
And he's just, you know, it's just he's great and everything. Yeah, no, it was funny. It reminded me of one of my favorite movies. As much as I think that it took a lot from that movie, it's not I don't think it's plagiarism.
No.
Because it does go off in other directions. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I wouldn't say that it's something I want to watch again
No.
all the time. I laughed at some parts, and that was what the movie's meant for.
I feel like you were entertained the whole time.
I was entertained. Yeah, I was entertained. I it's not like I was like, let's turn this off. I wasn't like, when is this movie going to end? Yeah, it wasn't terrible. Somebody on Twitter said I put that we were watching Amanda Bynes' film for the podcast, and someone said, "She's the Man" isn't terrible. And I was like, oh, cool. It gave me hope going into this movie. And that's exactly how I feel about the movie. It's not terrible. I don't know what I do. Never mind. Doesn't matter. I don't know what I was going to say. But yeah.
For the next one, are we doing another mine, or are we doing one of yours?
I don't know. I do want to know what would you rate it now?
Rate this?
Yeah.
I don't know. I enjoy it just as much.
Just as much as you did?
Just as much as I did.
So you just love it. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
At least I'm glad this one held up for you.
Yeah.
I'm glad it
Fired
did.
Up, not as much.
Not as much, yeah.
But this is still fucking hilarious to me.
The next one, I don't know. We'll see. Maybe you guys can let us know if you want, who you want to pick from. And if we get enough votes one way or the other, we'll do that. Otherwise, we both have lists.
We both do have
of films to watch. I don't know. Either way, I'm looking forward to it. And hopefully, I think after another episode or two, maybe we'll get a guest in.
Okay.
To start doing some of that stuff too. Yeah, cool. That was She's the Man. It was tolerable. It was dare I say, good in some parts.
Yep.
So thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. All right, guys. Thanks for listening.